All right, we are live. Great. Anyway, I'm a little disappointed in myself that coming from Colorado, I consider this cold right now. But I think that's what Southern California does to you. How's everybody doing tonight? Pretty good? Excuse me. I had something spicy for dinner and it's still there. Question. How many of you have meditated before? Show of hands. Sweet. How many of you have done Tonglen before? Okay, about half. Man. Great. So we're going to start at the beginning. And the way I like to do it is we practice a couple times. And we also have some time in between to ask questions, because I think it's really important to hear from other people. Chances are that somebody else is experiencing what you're experiencing, so it's really helpful to share with folks. And I'm just a student like you, so there's almost every time I come up here, multiple times where you all bring the real wisdom. And so I'm excited to have this be a conversation. Like all good conversations, starts with an introduction. I'm Michael. I've been practicing for a long time and lucky enough to spend some time with some Tibetan tradition and Tibetan teachers. And that's the practice that we're going to go into tonight. Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about first the historic origins of Tonglen. Tonglen comes from a text called the Lojong teachings. And Lojong in Tibetan literally means mind training, right? So think of this as like an exercise guide for your mind. And the idea were that they were these short little practices that you could do that would train your mind to act or to behave in a certain way. Right? And the idea being that if you do it enough, just like any skill, it becomes habit. It becomes just your natural way of engaging. And Tonglen in particular was meant to teach compassion. So, man, sorry about my throat here. Curious for you all, what does compassion mean to you? What comes up when you think of compassion? Love? Nice. Yeah.
But coupled with action.
Say more. What do you mean by action?
It's not just sending a wish for somebody to feel better. It's actively wanting to help them.
Yeah.
To be better.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I always think of the etymology of the word. It means to suffer with. So that action part is that willingness to be there in somebody else's suffering.
Yeah, beautiful. For anybody online, we had three really important points. One was love. Compassion means love, or is associated with it. One means love coupled with action. So it's not just having love for another person, but wishing for their suffering to go away. And then the last one was in embracing the etymology, which literally means compassion, kon, which is with, and passion, to suffer or to feel. And so it means to suffer with or to feel with. And that's exactly how I like to do this practice. I'll break it down in steps, but the most important part is for you to find a way to see suffering in yourself or in another person in the world and to not turn away. Because what do we do usually when we see something suffering, somebody suffering? Sorry, what'd you say?
Feel bad internally.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that sucks, right? Starving kittens on the TV. Yep. Anyway, what's on Netflix, right? Or, we distract ourselves, right? We start scrolling. So one is that we turn away. But today, I want us to focus on another part that a lot of us, especially yours truly, do when we see suffering. Let's say we don't turn away and we stay with it. What do most of us often do that's not that helpful?
Try to fix something.
Exactly, right? I'm sure you all can relate to this, right? You go to a friend, you're like, oh my God, I just had such a rough day, or like, I'm in this breakup, whatever, like my heart is just broken. And their immediate reaction is like, hey, well, you actually shouldn't be with that person. And I set you up on a new date. And you're like, yo, chill out. All I wanted to do was for somebody to be with me right now, right? Compassion, to be with that suffering. I just want to be held by another person. And so that's what we're going to practice today. Because that's the same thing that happens in our mind all the time, right? Oh my God, my back hurts. Great. How can I fix this? Can I move it around? Can I do something differently, right? And we're going to practice. Could I just be with it? With that intention, may you be free from the suffering. Right? I don't need to act immediately because maybe I don't know the most skillful way to do that yet. And the more that I can just be with it, the more I'll learn about it. And then the right action will emerge. If action is even the thing that needs to happen. Any questions, thoughts, comments so far? Pretty basic stuff. Yeah. I was just talking with somebody though. It's basic in the sense that like this isn't rocket science, but that doesn't mean that it's not hard. And you could spend an entire lifetime trying to perfect this. I think that's what's so beautiful about these practices. The Buddha said, you could follow the breath all the way to enlightenment. You don't necessarily need these crazy elaborate practices and mandalas in your mind and all of this, mental gymnastics we do. The basics, just to be with somebody else's suffering is a lifelong practice. So let's practice. Okay, so the way that I like to teach Tonglen is 4 steps. So the first one is that you open, and I'll explain why we do each one in a second, but you open, you turn towards the suffering, you take on the suffering, and then eventually you expand, right? So it's those 4 steps. Now we're going to just start with the open one because really the other 3 happen naturally if you can do the first one right. Why would it be important for us to open first?
Be receptive.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Willing.
sorry, what was the second part?
Willing.
Willing for.
To, I guess, accept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, willing to accept.
Take on.
Yeah, exactly. For people online, he said, be open means to be willing to accept, to take on. Yeah. Anything else?
Acknowledge that it exists.
The openness?
Good.
Yeah.
There is something that we really need to deal with.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
So I think some of us will ignore it or suppress it, I guess. And not even acknowledge that there's a problem to begin with.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. So just acknowledging to begin with that there is suffering there, right? And that necessitates a certain type of openness. Anybody familiar with the term trauma dumping?
Yeah.
Yeah? What does it mean?
Basically, you're just dumping, I guess, spilling your trauma onto people.
Exactly. And maybe you've been in a situation like that.
Drama trauma.
Their drama. Yeah.
and
Trauma dumping. Both. Very true. Exactly. Right? Like just in the same situation, oh my God, I've had a hard day. You've probably been on the other side of that too, where you had a really hard day. And then somebody comes up to you and they're like, oh my God, I got to tell you about my boss. She is such a jerk, blah, 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 blah. And you have no capacity for it, right? And that's not super helpful either. And sometimes it can feel like that when we do this practice, that we turn towards suffering and it just feels overwhelming because we don't think that we have the capacity. But I loved what you said, that remind ourselves that it's actually there. And I didn't know what the it referred to. That's why I followed up. But the amazing part about Buddhism is that it says in this teaching that we actually have the capacity for literally anything. They call it bodhicitta, or great mind, awakened mind. And the idea is that at our nature, at our essence, the Buddha nature inside all of us, there is capacity to hold anything. And so part of this practice is tapping into that space so that we can be receptive, so that we can acknowledge what's here. And so that when it starts to feel intense, we can remember the openness. We can remember the spaciousness. Make sense? Okay. Let's practice. So if you want to find a comfortable posture, either legs crossed, or you can put your feet flat on the ground. Want your spine to fall into a natural alignment with gravity. You might sort of sway forward and backward a little bit, side to side. And just notice what feels centered and balanced for you. Relax your shoulders. Allow your hands to rest in your lap or on your knees. If you like, you can close your eyes or gently rest your gaze a few feet in front of you. And I find it helpful to tuck the chin in just a little bit, up and under, which will just help straighten your spine. You might start by just coming into this moment. Maybe hearing the sounds around you, the rain outside. Feeling the cool air on your skin. Seat on the cushion. You might notice your breath. Just your natural inhale and exhale. Not trying to control the breath or manipulate it, just letting it happen as it needs to happen. This incredible breath. You don't even have to think about it. Naturally taking in exactly the air that you need. and letting go of what you don't. See if on your next in-breath you can receive that air. Not changing how much you take it in, but changing how you receive it. Noticing all the little intimate details of the in-breath. And as you exhale, notice your natural ability to let go or to release. Receiving and giving away. And now I invite you to tap into this natural existing quality of openness. So you might call to mind a beautiful, spacious landscape. Maybe it's an open sky. Maybe you're sitting in a meadow and you're looking up this beautiful vista. Maybe it's looking up at the stars at night. Maybe it's imagining yourself in the middle of the ocean, effortlessly sitting on top of the water, just surrounded by space. Or if visualizations are not your thing, you might just notice what it feels like to accept everything around you. To not try and change anything. To just notice the sounds coming in and out, coming and going, sensations, thoughts, all of it. Welcome. And if there's any part of you that feels constricted or like it can't open or it can't accept, see if you can welcome that too. See if you can invite that too into this meadow or this open, vast sky. You might see how big your awareness can become. What's the edge of that sky? And what's beyond that? And beyond that? And beyond that? No matter what shows up in this spaciousness, this openness, it's welcome, exactly as it is. And if you notice your mind getting distracted or trailing off into a thought, great. See if you can notice it and welcome it into the space. See if you can open around it. My guidance is going to drop away for a few minutes, and I invite you to just sit in this openness and notice what comes up for you. No matter what comes up, see if you can welcome it and remain open. Continuing to welcome, to open to whatever experience is arising. In a moment here, I'm going to ring the bell. You might notice the way that the sound emerges into this space. It's totally welcomed by it, and then slowly disappears. If your eyes are closed, you can gently open them. Maybe notice the light and the space around you. Becoming aware of your body. Give yourself a little wiggle of the fingers and toes. Stretch the neck a little bit. If your knees need a little break, feel free to move them as you like. If you need to warm up your hands, do that too. So I'm curious, what came up for people? What was that like for you?
Difficult for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't really remember a good, wonderful open space that was difficult to, that I struggled through.
Sure.
It was hard to settle on what I couldn't remember, though I know there are some.
Yeah,
That's good in visualizing process.
sure. And as the meditation went on, did you find a different way to connect with a sense of openness?
It's hard to say, there's definitely my concentration was good, but
Mhm.
visualization and then question.
Sure. Is visualization something that's usually easy for you?
I think so. Generally, hard to say. It's not super easy.
Sure.
It's not like I have any other option that's easier.
Fair enough. Well, being is that we are imagining spaces to begin with, feel free to just make one up. It doesn't have to be like an actual vista that you've seen before, or set of stars. It could also just be whatever your mind produces when you bring that up. Because again, it's just a pointer, right? It's just a way for us to connect to this feeling of openness. But thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I find it, it's hard for me to visualize as well.
Mm.
I did try and think of something, or someplace I've been in the past,
Mm-hmm.
or there's just imagining. I kind of find it difficult to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of just here,
Mm-hmm.
and just was open, and just letting it happen.
And
Just being here,
yeah,
I don't know, I felt some joy, some peace. But yeah, my mind was definitely racing
mm-hmm.
a bit and pulling in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just let it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, let it happen.
And what was that like when you just let it happen?
Ah, it was nice. It's peaceful, you know?
Yeah.
Wasn't fighting it, avoiding it, running from it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
accepting it. Was there serenity?
Amazing.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how that works, right? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're opening, right? And open, like, okay, spaciousness. Sometimes doing this, a room like this is big enough. Sometimes you gotta look at the ocean.
Mm.
Today, it wasn't big enough to just stop here on Earth. It was like,
Mm.
okay, me in the room, me next to the ocean, me outside the Earth, me outside really far away. So
Yeah.
trying to use something spatially in that way
Mm.
is really helpful. And how big the actual visualization needs to be.
Amazing. And what did it feel like for you when you were way out in the cosmos out there?
There's an emptiness, but it's not.
Very Zen. Thank you. Yeah. Cool. Anybody else feel like sharing with the group? You don't have to.
I had a similar experience, and it was really funny because we nailed it on the timing
Oh.
of like, what would you say, further or more,
Beyond.
beyond.
Yes.
The immediate place I went to was the spot I used to sit when I was in high school. I grew up in the desert, and so I would just kind of go outside of town, and there was a city further. So I remember driving up the hill and then further. Well, I remember being at the top of the mountain, which is like Idlewild by that point, and then further stratospheric, and then by that point you had stopped. I was just looking at the little blue dot that Carl Sagan was referring to, and just then my mind began to race, which is really often the case. And so what that into, then I got to imagine, or I guess I can imagine the thing happened, which I had a thought, and I could hardly even see it because I'm looking at this earth. And it conceptualized, like, oh yeah, it's just a thought of one person on an earth of 8 billion people.
Right.
It's not that big a deal. But your timing on it was so good. It was like, yeah.
Well, that's good because I was reading your mind the whole time, so glad it worked out. Yeah, that's, oh man, the little blue dot effect. What a beautiful way to describe that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
I come from Tai Chi practice. And in Tai Chi, we use the breath to send it away, to bring it back. So that the ability to do that creates the open space almost by itself. One doesn't have to imagine it. And I never thought of it in this way that you presented it, but that's what it creates. And it reminded me of what Shiva Sensei, the founder of Aikido, used to say, that when he breathed out, he breathed from the center of the universe, which is here, to the end of the universe. And when he breathed in, it's from the end of the universe to the center of the universe. So he was the center of the universe, and he embraced the whole universe. And that's why he used to say, when somebody comes against him, says he has no chance, how can you fight the universe?
Wow. That's beautiful. Yeah. It also makes me think of Jonathan Cage. He was like a famous composer back in the 60s and 70s. He used to say, we are all just a multitude of centers. So thinking about us all being the center of our own universe, right? And all of those universes colliding with one another. Man, you guys, see, this is why it's so good for us to share, because so much comes up, right? Okay, so now we're gonna, openness was the first step. And as you can see, once, whether it's connecting with the breath, or whether it's visualizing something, or whether it's just noticing that you can release thoughts. And when you release thoughts, you're still there. You're still in the openness, right? Or imagining the blue dot. What that does is it creates this spaciousness in which we have a lot more capacity to hold or to be with suffering. And so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start, what are we doing on time? Great. We're going to start with ourselves first. I think it's really important to start from yourself, because as I'm sure you've all experienced, when people try to help people and they're not in a great place themselves, often you just cause more harm. Now, sometimes helping people can get you out of a rut. That's also wonderful too, but we're going to start with ourselves. And then we'll move on to others. And I'll give us some visualizations to do along the way, but if visualizations are not really your thing, or if they're just not working for you today, the visualizations are far less important than what they're pointing towards. So what we're going to do is, when you see the suffering, or when you connect with the suffering, we are going to breathe it in. And I'm going to say breathe it in like black smoke, right? And then you're going to send it care. So you might imagine sending light or sending, pure joy back to that thing. And you can do that with your breath. And if that visualization works for you, great. If it doesn't, don't pay attention to what I'm saying. And the most important thing is to just be with whatever shows up. Because the natural tendency of the mind when you are coming from a place of spaciousness like that, your natural tendency is to care when you see suffering. And there's if we want to go into it, there's all kinds of neuroscience that backs this up, that even infants, when they see suffering, want to help. They want to care, right? That's our natural way of being. So the only thing you really need to do in all of this is to just stay open and be with. One of my teachers likes to say, as a mantra, as they're saying this, similar to a visualization, a mantra can just sort of keep you in that space. And they say, my dear or my darling, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here with you. And I'll say that again as we're going through the meditation. But again, whether it's visualizations or a mantra or just the feeling, the important part is to just be with whatever shows up. Cool? Questions, concerns? Nice. Great. So let's find your comfortable posture again. Maybe that's crossed legs, maybe that's kneeling, maybe it's feet on the ground. And again, you might find your natural alignment with gravity in your spine. It feels like you are both awake, alert, and relaxed. Dropping the shoulders, tucking the chin. Closing the eyes or resting your gaze a few feet in front of you. You might notice your breath. Natural inhale. All the way into your center. And exhale. All the way out. Now you can call to mind that open spaciousness. Maybe you're sitting at the edge of a meadow or atop a mountain, surrounded by this beautiful desert. Maybe you're way out in space, staring back at a tiny little blue dot. Or maybe you're right here, with the cushion underneath you. You're just noticing the way things are arising and passing away. Spacious. open. Receptive. Now you might do a little body scan, coming back in your own body. Starting at the top of your head and slowly moving down. Noticing what sensations are in your scalp, your face, your neck, your shoulders. Your left arm, all the way down to your hand. And your right arm, all the way to the tips of your fingers. Your torso, your back, your stomach, hips, legs, knees, feet. Then you might take in your entire body all at once. And see if you notice any tension. Any tension at all. And see if you can turn towards that. Again, welcoming it into the space. And as you breathe in, you might try and bring your attention a little bit closer to it. Breathing it in. How big is it? Is it moving? What does it really feel like right now? If there's no tension in your body, you could also do this with something you might be feeling. It could also be your mind. If your mind's getting distracted and running somewhere else, great. Do this with the running. But whatever you notice, see if you can just stay with it, breathing into it. See if you notice any tension or constriction or tightness. And you might imagine that tension or tightness as black smoke. With your inhale, you breathe it in, really trying to understand it, to learn about it. And as you exhale, I notice your natural tendency to care for it, to send it well wishes. May you be peaceful. May you be at ease. May you be free from suffering. Breathing in the black smoke Breathing out light. If the visualization isn't really working for you, that's fine. You might just repeat to yourself or to the tension. I see you. I'm with you. And I'm not going anywhere. Imagining that as you breathe in that black smoke, it is somehow relieved of its tension, of the pressure, of the pain. And as you breathe out, you fill it with that joy, that peace, that ease, that light. And if it ever feels like too much, you can always return to that sense of open spaciousness. Remembering that this too is happening inside of that openness. That vast expansion. And again, if your mind gets distracted or you go somewhere else, totally understandable. That's what the mind does. See if you can turn towards that distraction. Turn towards the part of you that wants to be somewhere else, or thinks it needs to fix or plan or do or whatever it is right now. Can you be with that? I see you. I'm with you. And I'm not going anywhere. Breathing in the black smoke, the tension, the anxiousness, the fear, whatever it is. And breathing out care in whatever form feels right. Next, you might invite somebody into your mind's eye, somebody that's easy to love, a friend, family member, partner, a pet. See them in front of you with as much vivid detail as possible. What are they wearing? How do they hold their body? What expression do they have on their face? You might just notice whatever tension might be in their experience right now. Maybe they have back pain. Maybe they're going through a hard time in their life. And again, whatever that is, see if you can breathe it in. Imagine it as black smoke. And with your inhale, you breathe it in. And on your exhale, you breathe out light, care, ease. Seeing them in their pain, in their struggle. I see you. I'm with you. And I'm not going anywhere. As you breathe in that black smoke and send out that light, you might imagine that person slowly transforming, being relieved of this burden. Being filled with peace. And if you like, you could stay with this person. Or if it feels right, you can bring someone else into your mind. Maybe a complete stranger, somebody you passed on the street today. Somebody you saw at the grocery store. And again, visualize their face, how they hold their body. Think about what they might be going through right now. Maybe it's heartbreak. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's loneliness. And again, see if you can turn towards that pain from a place of openness. And breathe it in. Breathing out care. And if it feels like you don't know what would be helpful or you don't know what care would look like, don't worry about it. Just stay with their pain. I'm here. I see you. And I'm not going anywhere. When it feels right, you can let go of the visualization of these people in front of you. Let go of the spaciousness, let go of the mantra, let go of all of it, and simply rest. And if your eyes were closed, you can gently open them. And move yourself around a little bit. That was kind of a long sit, so if you need to move your legs, stretch them out, go for it. And yeah, we don't have too much time left, but I'd love to, if anybody wants to share something that came up for them, what it felt like, what was hard for you, what you noticed.
The flow that keeps showing up for me is kind of open up or think of this or that stuff with, and then feel a lot, and then kind of get distracted from the focus by what's brought up. But also, I don't feel like I recentering myself, whatever would be a benefit, because that's also, I guess what I'm trying to get at is I'm not sure if that's the focus of the meditation. Whatever flow of thoughts or feelings or emotions happen.
Sure.
Once I open up.
So if I'm understanding this right, you open up, you find something to pay attention to, some sort of pain, and then you get distracted, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens, and then when you try and come back, it's unclear what you're supposed to be focusing on. Is that right?
Right, because what I would be coming back to is the subject of all those emotions.
Got it. Yeah. Totally makes sense, right? And that's a very natural process of the mind once you start to get close to pain to try and run away, right? And one of the ways that we do that is by thinking, right? So like you might get close to it and then all of a sudden your mind starts to bounce around all over the place, right? Either about that thing or about something completely different, right? Is that?
Yeah, no, the issue is just that it's about the pain, the thing.
For sure.
Right? So
For
I'm
sure.
not sure what's the distraction and what the meditation is intending me to be focused on.
Right.
Because if I were to also just shut out that thought feeling because it's a distraction or in my mind, maybe I am also taking myself away from the focus. And so just interpreting exactly what I am to be focusing on and not is difficult.
Totally. I'll say this in a few words because we don't have a ton of time, but there is no right object of meditation in this. What we are trying to do is cultivate the way we turn towards whatever shows up. So if it's another person that we're visualizing, great. Then we're practicing being compassionate towards that person. But if it's random thoughts coming up or a whole train of worry or pain or whatever it is in response to that thing, it's also so beneficial to just be compassionate towards that train of thought. And whether you make it back to that original thing or not doesn't really matter. What's important is how you're continuing to show up for whatever's emerging in your experience. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it brought, there were too many elements, each one brought different questions. So I don't think there's time now to answer them.
I'll stick around for a little bit, a while if anybody wants to talk. But Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, this is my last night teaching here. But for now, who knows what the future will bring. But I'd love to hear more about that. And for whatever it's worth, I brought in the visualization, which is the traditional practice, the mantra, which is like a contemporary way of doing this, and then a bunch of other stuff, in hopes of trying to bring in more modalities so that something might stick with you. And the risk of that is that it becomes too confusing and there's too many things to pay attention to. So
Not confusing, but there's, oh, now how do there's here, there's there.
Sure.
Yeah, each
Sure.
one is a different way to look at things.
Yes. Well, many paths up the same mountain, right? But yes.
You can climb all of them at the same time.
Correct. At some point, you got to pick a path and just keep walking. Yep. Which is why you should all keep practicing. So, if anything was difficult tonight for you or confusing, again, I'll stick around. More than happy to talk about this for as long as you like. But the important part is to just keep doing it, right? Like any skill, whether it's learning a language or riding a bike or learning to be compassionate with people, the more we practice it, the easier it gets. So let's just quickly dedicate the merit. If you feel comfortable, you can put your hands together or just think. May the benefit of our practice tonight be for all sentient beings, for all those who suffer and feel pain. May they be free from their burdens. May they find real peace, real happiness, for the benefit of all sentient beings. Thank you all so much for practicing tonight, for showing up. Yeah, of course. And I think we have some announcements. And thank you to anybody who is online tonight as well.
Hello, how are you? I'm tonight's host, Anna. Hi. Dharmabumtemple was opened 19 years ago. No, not today, but my excitement was because this spiel just changed from 18 to 19, so it was like the anniversary. Yeah. So 19 years ago, to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those who lead aren't nuns, monks, gurus, or teachers, and no one's looking for students. They're simply practitioners sharing their interpretation of the practice, just like Michael did tonight. Thank you. Every night there's different classes led by different people from various Buddhist traditions. There's also recovery sangha that meets several nights a week for anyone experiencing addiction. There's also a food redistribution program every Thursday at 4:30 before this. There's classes and programs literally every day, and everything we offer here is free. There's a silent meditation Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. The full schedule is on the website. It's also posted in the entryway above the Zishura. There's also a lending library. So if you see a book you like in there, feel free to borrow it, bring it back whenever you're done. You can also donate books if you like. There's a box in there. Throw it in there. Please, students for reading. And then as y'all are leaving, if you can just straighten your cushion, your seat, and appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you are well, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.